Hello and welcome. Today is Saturday, the 1st of July 2017. My name is Derek and welcome. Let's take a look at some cryptocurrencies, but before doing such, let's take a look at the market cap for cryptocurrencies. I posted this on Steemit on the 26th of June as the markets were all tanking to the downside, which is occurring again today. And this small barred area or lined area which represented this resistance and this support from a huge move lower, or it's a first, and an area where I thought it could retest it. Looking at this chart currently, it's made this lower high in here so obvious to point out and see, ooh man, definitely a not so bullish looking scenario. This you could perceive as maybe neutral, because oftentimes when you go in these long sideways motions, you're going to go look a little bit weak, a little bit strong, depending on which side of the range you are in. And breaking down below this little key area in here, there could be some interesting moves, to say the least. This would basically go, I think, from what at least what I've been researching on the web, against everything that they're talking about within this summer months. Because to me, if I see a breakdown like this over this time frame, this is an overall 3-month chart, this would signify that we're probably going to be many weeks, even a couple months minimum, before it would even retest this previous high, and that's on the if scenario. And now let's move on to the actual chart, starting within the daily Bitcoin. And within such, it's in a little bit of a downtrend, but small, low, volatile movements, hanging in there barely within this 18 average of lows. A long sideways consolidation pattern overall. And I mean, I guess at any time this thing could just get going when it pleases, but for now it's just going to be a whole bunch of boring trading. It's going to take a decent move, just even up to 26 now, just to even attempt to turn this thing around outside of boring neutrality to regular neutrality. What do I mean by boring neutrality and regular neutrality? Well, right now, boring is pretty much everything in this portion of its range. And that's because if it's had like 4 days of this and then it starts to go back up and anything like this, that brings extreme indecision, extreme neutrality. Within such, let's shorten this out to the 4-hour time frame. And I can talk all I want about, oh, by the way, look at this pattern. Look at this pattern where it's within this neutral 18, it goes down, it's resisting the band. It's a bearish situation. And you know what? Yeah, maybe. And I think even short term, you could definitely make a case down towards here. When we look at the entire situation within this price chart, the earlier thing is what's of note with this high, and obviously price action moving towards it. So it makes this low in here, lower high, you have the higher low in here. There is no real who's in the lead of this sideways maneuvering trend. All I can do is maybe give a small case to the bears or the downside, given most of this sideways range has been a little bit lower, but then the path of least resistance, or where it came from, automatically gives it its up bias as well. So it makes it very difficult at this stage to make any price predictions for the short term. Let's move on to Ethereum. And this on the daily time frame is most certainly not a bullish pattern. In fact, it is quite the opposite in of a bearish one. After breaking down below this support in here, right roughly in that stage there, the last few days we could see within these two periods a final green candle up close to the 18 average of highs, and then the following red candle, pretty much the exact same size, close enough to it, which was then followed up by this sideways range and now breaking down below the band. So That's the situation. And look, you're looking for the first stage of a reversal in trend. Support's obviously been established, and now it's looking to make a move and test that level. I think once you see price action significantly below 200, this could get interesting, to say the least, as this roller coaster of cryptocurrency moves into what would probably be a large force. This would go pretty much exactly, I think, against. I mean, the Webbot has not talked about any kind of move. From what I've read, they were stating that it's basically going to break past this resistance here. So if it doesn't, then you know what? That's a miss, and that's going to happen. And that's why it's always going to be about adjusting the message of the market, and not every play is a winning situation. For just because you're betting to short or sell all of your ethers here, that doesn't mean it's going to be a winning play, because you could be, okay, let's sell all here at 248, goes down maybe to 237. Next thing you know, it's back to 248. Next day, it's at 300, 310. Okay, and then that's going to happen at times too. So it's always taking the chance. And if you're in it for the long term and you feel, man, these are just short-term or movements, I can't time well enough to get in and out, and I'm just going to lose equity if I do such, and you just hold on the long-term time frame, the overall risk is that the market is just going to practically cave in. And when you have any type of down moves, they're going to be real and not fake. And a fake move would be a situation, okay, it comes down here to 100, say July 15th, and then August 27th, it's back to 250, September 20th, it's at 400. That would be a fake move, because if you buy and hold, or just been holding the whole time, yes, you would see your portfolio go up a bit and down a bit and up a bit, and really that's what a lot of this game is all about. Let's move on to its cross with Bitcoin. And it basically has the exact same pattern, so I'm not going to go over much. And the key levels, you're looking at about the 70 handle, but maybe more importantly closer to the 60 if there is any deeper movements, and that's just only looking to where it was, as far as markets oftentimes come back to such. Within the ETC now, I want to show you a situation in here, this red candle. Here's a spot where you made the low, you came back to the band, and you were starting to break below. That's what I mean about situations where just because it looks like it's a good bullish spot doesn't mean it's always going to win. And quite frankly, don't be surprised when you find amazing spots that when it fails, the opposite happens, and boom. I found this firsthand back in 2009 within the traditional stock market, that was the case. If I found a great bullish setup, and I would take it, and hey, it's not doing what it's supposed to. Oh my God, it just fell big. And that's what I was used to there, but just something to keep in notice. Today's down move, you know, it's leaving the band, but it's really just a retest of this current support level. Very much a major sideways reaction, and even a move down to the 60 handle would bring it back to this previous support and really just make the sideways range larger. But instead of 70 to about 85, 88, it would be 60 to about 90. Let's move on to Dash. And it continues its pattern. It's a down day today, but the pattern is slowly but surely putting up this a nice bullish setup, doing well as far as playing around with this level of resistance. We can see in here that this mark has basically been a combination of support and resistance mostly recently, which is, I think, very productive. But again, it's a slow running bullish setup. Transitioning over to LTC, or in that of Litecoin, majorly established support in here. And all that means is if there's going to be any decent size falls, that would be one of the key areas, with another one being in an area where it hasn't been recently, which is mainly the key Fibonacci from this high to this low. But if this area does fall, I'd be just blindly looking at around the 12.7 or so area as maybe its first potential support level, with most definitely in at around the one even handle as its next key point. Within its situation, it's had a beautiful up move from this very long consolidation in here. So all these red down days in here, oh, it's looking weak, it's looking weak. And you never know, it can flip on a dime. It's just when buyers come in control, especially if you're not looking at the news and you couldn't care less or whatever. You're just holding. And if you're playing expecting maybe that something's going to have a big gain, I know for myself, that's what I'll do. I'll just wait and wait. And then, of course, I'll be in line to sell for profits when they happen. So if you bought in, like, say you bought here, then you bought here, and you bought some here, you bought 3 times, we'll say. You bought at 12, 11, and 10. Well, heck, you would have bought in, like, the middle of May, and you can't sell until the middle of June. So you were holding for, like, a month. You know what? So be it. That's within my strategy. That's how I look at it as. And, yeah, it's just when it's ready to go, I want to get my profits then. And then you understand, of course, where you have for the risk, not only for each individual code, but how even the entire portfolio you have is set up. And the more you understand it, then at least you know when each situation, whether it's good or bad, comes in, you know exactly how to prepare for it and what to do. Let's move on to the next chart. That'll be Ripple, the banker's currency as it is dubbed. And nothing bullish here. Nothing yet to indicate that it's bearish by any means because, hey, it's coming off a nice run and it's in a sideways consolidation. So you could even say that, hey, you know what? This is more bullish than bearish. Okay, so be it. For me, I really want no part of this. And I know anyone who's watching this knows what I'm doing here. I'm waiting for it to go way down to buy if I want any part of it, unless I could see some sort of bullish indication that it's time to get in, and I'm going to at least need to see the price above a rising 18 average, or at least I can't even think about it until it starts to move higher. Price is above it. Not even close right now. It's looking to leave the lower end. Let's move on to XEM, or that of NEM. I don't understand why the code is XEM and it's called NEM, and whatever. Within here, a couple days of support where it stands now, a couple days resisting the 18 average of highs, and right now it's been a couple days falling below. So definitely in a bearish pattern. Meanwhile, it's been doing that after having this a consolidation run breaking down in here. So this area of support, you could say, has been a consolidation area now. Definitely not on a bullish scenario, especially again when you throw in line that we're also at the support level from this major original hit from before. That if this thing is in this type of price area close to 5,000 Satoshi, it's anybody's guess. And that's exactly what it is for me, guess to where this thing could go. There's so many places to where it came from that I'm not going to try right now at this stage. I think maybe if you, maybe this 12 number seems a little, or 18 rather, seems a little tempting. And that would take a decent decline. But again, it's a bearish pattern. Would definitely be considering between buying, selling, or holding. The answer to me would be selling. I don't own any, but definitely not liking the look of it. And that's what I would do. That's it. Let's move on. And Monero, it's really hard to say much again other than, okay, maybe short term we might be in line for a test of this 15 level, because situation of breaking down below the support as another resistance level, and we're leaving the band. Decent sized red candle down at this point in here. Maybe short term, because it's at the support level, it can find a bounce. It would be both bullish and bearish for something like that to happen. But overall, within such, this is one heck of a choppy sideways consolidation pattern. And there really isn't much more to say about it, because within choppiness, you're going to have some interesting moves above and below the band, and above the band have been a lot more interesting than the ones heading below it. But yeah, more continued sideways action with lower prices. Moving on. Let's take a look at Stratis, or Strat. I haven't covered as much of it, but given how high it is on the market cap, I will. And within its pattern, after its beautiful up run, which it had, maybe better than beautiful from its lows. But with that being stated, it came down towards here. The band, of course, flattening out, heading lower. Another retest of support, resisting this area of support in here. And then the red down day, like a lot of these other charts are showing, like it's ready to break down. As far as key Fibonacci points are concerned, we have the high at 468,600. But you know what? Just for easy numbers, I put 4686. The low is 5,900. I took 2 zeros off that. I got to take 2 zeros off of this one, which tells you it went up about 80 or so times from its low, like a lot of these other ones are doing. 61.8 represents a 38.2% down correction. 88.1, that's 88,000 or so. So that would represent somewhere around here, or this previous spot to where it came from. I will be putting a buy order in for that level. Probably, I haven't done it yet. I might even try to go a little lower because they do pierce it. 75, I'd probably go 73, 74 in this area. I'd be looking to make a buy order, but you know what? There's a good chance it's never going to happen, and it's just going to be part of its sideways consolidation. But for me, it's either holding Bitcoin, and if it doesn't go through, okay, I'm fine being long BTC. Let's move on to a ZEC. And it has the pattern that has just been dreadful lately, and that is, oh my goodness, it looks like it's falling from this band again, like every other code has done. Notice in here, and this is what I think is very important to look at when you're looking at situations, the winners and the losers. How many people would have got trapped in here? I know you really can't short. Maybe in some places you can, but you definitely can sell if you own any. And that was a bad place to do such. Had a quick, fast move here, but it overall consolidated its gain. And then again, leaving this band, breaking down below this support. A few days later, boom. Failed move, fast move to the upside. It's very important to look at it. Hey, look at it in here. It left the band. Okay, you got a gain here. Of course, at that stage, the path of least resistance was lower, but that doesn't necessarily even mean back in here that it was going to play well for a short position or bet lower, which it obviously did. But something to keep in mind, it's already once this point here, it came back to where it came from. The next spot in which it came from would be roughly around the 75, and we can do mathematical Fibonacci calculations again. We can see the high is pretty much 170. So I'll put 1700 in, and then we'll put the low in, and we'll we'll determine by looking at it that it looks to me like a 20, we'll put 22 spot in. That seems like a good number. Of course, it's 220. So 778. Right here. So that is where I'll be buying. I already did sell a little bit. I sold about half of what I had, knowing that if it goes up, I'll go up with half the tokens I had before. Okay, so be it. But if it does go down here, what I sold, I'm going to buy back with a little bit on top because, well, buying at 75 and selling at about what was, I think, 116 when I sold, it was a little, not much higher. And then I can get it back cheaper. Of course, that's, if it happens. All right then, so this has been another close to 20-minute video, but there's probably about 20 codes or so I talked about as well. Definitely over 20 charts, I think. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a great weekend, and in North America, a great Canada Day and 4th of July. Take care.